People keep asking me what state I live in. First of all, thank you for asking. I live in a constant state of anxiety. Hi, this is Kimberly. Yes, I've been gone quite a long time. No, I've not abandoned my channel. It'll pick back up one day like it was before, but been going through some major upheavals here at the Mr. and Mrs. Kimberley household, which now includes 3 of our 4 granddaughters and my daughter. And no, it's not Danielle. It's our youngest daughter. Danielle's as squeaky clean as they come, has her own place, you know. You know who she is. She goes by Anonymous in the comments. You'll be happy to know, for people that have been following my not-so-subtle hints, my daughter is in recovery and is doing quite well. She's working to keep her family together, of herself and her 3 daughters, and my youngest granddaughter, she's nearly 2 months old now, and she was born with hydrocephalus. She had surgery at 1 day old. She had a shunt placed in her head. She has a tube that goes from, there's a pump behind her right ear. There's a tube that goes all the way down and empties into her abdomen. Not the stomach, but the abdomen. And it's excess spinal fluid, and the body reabsorbs it. She's doing very, very well now. She did spend, I would say, about 3 weeks in NICU at Scottish Rite Hospital. And that little girl, she was so tiny when she was born, and skinniest legs I've ever seen. And she's a little chunky thing now. She loves her papa. And she has a beautiful personality, and we're so very blessed and happy. But of course, we're all sleep deprived here, and you know me, the wind blows the wrong way, and I go into a fibromyalgia flare. It's just kicked off everything. It's got my IBS going and everything. I have a bottle of Pepto-Bismol as we speak, sitting here on my desk, and I do shots from it every now and then. And then I have ginger ale in my desk drawer, I have Alka-Seltzer tablets in my desk drawer, and I keep dropping them in my ginger ale. And, well, you know, I don't know what made me think of this, but people keep asking me what state I live in. Well, first of all, thank you for asking. I live in a constant state of anxiety. And on a serious note, my prayers have been answered, it seems. Years and years and years of prayers. I just want to tell everybody that after a very, 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 very rocky start, things are going well. And one of these days, I anticipate that Mr. Kimberley and I will have an empty nest. We keep hoping. It's never happened yet, but we just keep taking in people. You know, it's what we do. We're both Libras, if that tells you anything. For fun, Mr. Kimberley sits in his car at the Walmart parking lot looking for people to help. Isn't that sweet? He does that all the time. Today he helped a lady that was disoriented find her way to her car. He was a little worried about her. He said she was about a mile away in the parking lot. Bless him. Bless her. Bless everybody. Bless my damn heart, too. Damn it. I've had a rough time, and I've gone through horrible, horrible waves of depression. Please tell me how to come out of it, please. Just go the fuck away. Oh, for those of you that just hate to hear me babble, and it's too late to tell you now, but there's a timestamp usually down in the description box that you can click on to go to the real beginning of the video. And anyway, there's just so much that's happened, and I don't even know where to begin, and that's the abbreviated version. And so go ahead and click on that link and skip this part if you don't give a flying fig about my personal life. As a convenience, I use a stamp mark indicating a particular time and place where the real video begins for you impatient ones. I should have said that at the beginning. Oh well. As some of you know, until I get back on my feet for my channel, I'm just redoing the book series that I did a couple of years back. It might have been 3 years now, Some people missed it the first time around and won't go back and look at older stuff unless you kind of direct them. And it just helps me get my feet wet. And God, I love y'all and miss you so much. I really do. I hope you're having a fantastic week, weekend, Memorial Weekend, all that stuff. Let's go ahead and add in 4th of July, since I missed that. And, well, to be on the safe side, happy Labor Day. It'll be about time I get this shit posted. Life is good. I hope you're enjoying it. Much love and peace. And thank you for listening. Hi, this is Kimberly. This is a synopsis and a critique of Chapter 5 of My Daddy is a Hero, How Chris Watts Went from Family Man to Family Killer by Lena Derhally. The title of this chapter is Hold Me Tight. We begin this chapter at 6 a.m. on Wednesday, August 15, 2018. CBI Agent Matthew Saylor, Detective Dave Baumhover, and CBI Crime Scene Analysis Dave Yoakum all showed up for a bright and early search of Watts' residence. CW consented to the search and was like, "Yeah, man, go ahead." He was probably feeling all smug and secure because he had been very attentive to fumigating and decontaminating the whole fucking house. I mean, the whole shebang the night of the murders. Chris had already given the go-ahead for them to rummage around the house, but they needed the door code to get into the place, so they called Ass Clown to get that. First thing they did when they got into the house was let poor Dieter out of his kennel and put him in the backyard to go potty and stretch his little Dachshund legs. Plus, he was probably barking his head off trying to explain what he heard and saw a couple of days earlier, but sadly no one spoke his language. I shudder to think what it was like for Dieter all summer while Romeo was playing Hocus Pocus and buck wild him with Sticky. Agent Saylor made notes of how pristine the house was, organized with labels and color coding, but he had also seen it on Monday when all of the beds were unmade and when the master bed had been stripped of the sheets. Every single trash can in the house had been emptied. All of the trash bags from the bathroom and such had been put into the kitchen trash, along with the bed sheet and pillowcases. Dickhead shit for brains. Level of genius, intellect, and brilliance just continues to astound me. Why did he put that shit in the kitchen trash and then leave it there? Was he conditioned to not waste trash bags? He's a bit slow on the uptake. His bulb is a little low on the wattage for being named a Watts. In the garage was the unopened book called Hold Me Tight, 7 Conversations for a Lifetime of Love. This is a relationship self-help book by Sue Johnson. Shanann had requested that her dumbass husband read this book and to implement some of the suggestions to fix his dumbass. He didn't want to. He had met Hickey, and that was all that mattered now. He was already immersed in Picky, reading her cover to cover. Asshole threw it away without even cracking open the damn book. Somebody should have cracked Humpty's skull like a fucking egg that fell off a fucking wall. Shanann had sent it to her dumbass husband, the book called Hold Me Tight, as an attempt to save the marriage. Maybe the old snowflake Chris would have given this a shot, but not this newly, full of himself, chiseled out version. The author says that even Coder had pointed out to him that oftentimes when someone improves their appearance so drastically that there is a new love interest behind it, and Chris made the ludicrous statement that he and Shanann would have discussed it first. Is he dead from the neck up? What a dumbass. He really lacks the intelligence of the normal sector of the human population. Stop lying, you fucking dumbass. No, he did not and would not discuss 𝐾𝐳𝐈𝐾𝐧𝐬 with his wife. Can you even imagine how that conversation would go? Chris would have been doing his best to duck left and right as his knees were knocking together with fear, and Shanann chased him around the downstairs, throwing those expensive, still not paid for vases and fancy works of art at his bonehead. Now she would never be able to return those things to IKEA. And while he was cleaning that shit up, she would have come up behind him and clobbered him with one of those expensive-ass, heavy-ass frying pans from 𝐿𝐢𝐽𝐴 to finish him off. And while the search was going on that morning, and the night before while Jerkoff was playing Truth or Consequences with Coder at the police station, NK had been frantically searching for news stories about the missing wife and daughters of her torrid lover. She was flipping her shit and having a nervous breakdown. She had that phone screen going as fast as it would scroll. Miss Lena says, quote, at age 30, Nikki had a few similarities to Shanann Watts. They were both curvy with long dark brown hair and green eyes, but that was the extent of the similarities between the two women. Shanann was softer, more feminine and striking. Nikki was considered attractive by the men in her office. They would check her out as she walked in the morning as they stood around together at their morning meetings. She was the athletic type, muscular and stocky in build, end quote. Again, Miss Lena said that shit, not me. I'm not getting the similarities. Nikki had no clue the regional security manager had already contacted CBI and handed over some steamy emails between NK and asshat. They both are persons of questionable intelligence to have been exchanging emails of that nature in the workplace. Nikki claimed everything that Monday was totally normal until late in the day, when CW said Shanann and the girls were gone. She assumed they had a squabble, and Jackwagon said she left her wedding rings behind and what should he do with them? And she was well, that means she's totally done and you're free, and therefore pawn the man. I'll go with you to the pawn shop. She was thinking they could be together now, but no, his family was missing, damn it. And she was all freaked out, that it would look bad if an affair came out in the media. But wait, wasn't he free to date? Because wasn't he separated and getting a divorce? NK was hoping the public would be all Amber Fry and shit on her ass, sympathetic due to this unfortunate event. And NK went all panic mode, thinking CW would have a motive to make his family vamoosh, and people would be all he's a liar and a cheater. And she was oh man, people are gonna freak out and flip the fuck out on me for sleeping with a married man that just so happens to have a pregnant wife and children. So she was started mad searching on her phone if cops could find deleted text messages and shit of that fucking nature. Then she started deleting every fucking thing she could think of off of her phone. She was kind of embarrassed and feeling uneasily self-conscious of the raunchiness of some of the text and the lewd pictures between her and her lover. Yeah, it was true, and although it was surprising that he was married with children and had a pregnant wife, but it's not what it seems like. She was all quaking and shook, so Nikki called her daddy and saying Daddy, help me. Chris had already asked his daddy for help. Neither of them dared to face the truth that they are a fuck-up. It has to be someone else's fault, always. I'm no mental health expert, but even I can see that both of them were showing an emotional or intellectual development appropriate to someone younger. In other words, they are both immature as shit. They can't ever shut up or accept the fact that they fucked up. First with that failure to launch side, when they were running around acting like horny teenagers and everything is going to be all fine and happy and good. And then the, oh my fucking God, Daddy, help me bit. They sit back and wait for Daddy to take reign and make shit happen or unhappen. Dumb fuck, didn't you learn in NASCAR tech that preventative measures help you avoid a catastrophic event later on down the road, correct? For example, Daddy, help me. I'm having this crazy thought about, killing my family so I can be with 𝐿𝐴𝐻𝐿𝐼, my soulmate, my new soulmate. Daddy says, what's a 𝐿𝐴𝐻𝐿𝐼? Shanann told me it was her, but I found out it wasn't. I had a new lady friend soulmate type deal with Quickie. You know, that Daddy is going to talk for me and fix everything card went out the window when you were about 9 years old. But Dick-ass only wanted his father to come, not his mother too. Probably because his mother would ask questions and start hollering, and we all know how that upsets Dick Smack. So Ronnie did as his asshat son asked, and he came alone. When shit had picked him up at the airport, Ronnie grunted to Assface, asking if he knew where Shanann and the girls were, to which douchebagette, of course, grunted back to his father with a no. That was the end of their discussion as for the reason for the sudden and unexpected trip. They switched gears and started talking about sports so they could avoid the problem at hand, as they usually did. They got to the police station at around 11, as Blockhead was scheduled to take his polygraph at this time. The book says, quote, when they arrived at the police station around 11 o'clock that morning, Ronnie was taken to an investigation room to be interviewed separately, and Chris went to take the polygraph test, end quote. I'm going to link a couple of videos that show Ronnie's interview upon arrival at the police station, and also after CW spilled his guts and blamed everything on Shanann. I did a couple of videos where I had to translate for Papa Ronnie because nobody could understand what the fuck he was saying. I'll link those down below in the description box, as well as the end of this video. The audio was really bad, and Ronnie's grunting was a bit hard to understand at times. But on the interview, Ronnie got seated and immediately started bad-mouthing Shanann out of the gate. Then he said, quote, she's a very controlling woman and my wife thinks she's a narcissist, end quote. But he does say later in the interview that he himself has not seen that side of Shanann. So apparently Shanann only became a narcissistic, controlling person around Cindy. That's fair to say, right? Ronnie explained about Chris and Shanann meeting and getting married. He spoke with exaggerated enthusiasm, kind of in such a way that I'm doing here now, in exaggerated enthusiasm. On and on about what a good son dumbass has always been. Ronnie was truly proud of him, bless his heart. On one of the videos that I link below, Papa Ronnie does have a rather entertaining story about Lunkhead coming home and wearing a trash bag or something like that. Yeah. And then, this wasn't in the book, but I saw it at the beginning of his interview video, the one after the confession. But why is it that Ronnie, he thought to come in with his cell phone and the charger, but not his wallet, with his identification inside of it? When the agents asked for it, he said it was in his bag out in the car. Why would you not bring that shit in? Maybe it's just me. Ronnie told them about the disastrous trip that Shanann and the girls took to North Carolina over the summer to visit both sides of the family, which turned out to be a series of unfortunate events, to say the least. Let's just call it what it is, a shit show clusterfuck, fustercluck, foobar, fucked up beyond belief. Papa Ronnie also discussed how Cece would be meeting Uncle Frankie and Aunt Jamie for the first time. He told them about the ridiculous bullshit called Nutgate, the mother-in-law/daughter-in-law relationship that had been simmering on the back burner all summer. Someone forgot to put the lid on and the goddamn shit boiled over, oozed everywhere. You know the rest. Cindy and Shanann got pissed at each other. Of course, both Ronnie and Dipstick are too passive to have quelled the damn situation. Is Miss Lena gonna address this? Is this why Shanann felt the need for social validation and took the fight online to Facebook? You are the professional mind decipherer. Please share your knowledge, Miss Lena. The interviewing agent said he definitely wanted to hear more about the blow-up between Cindy and Shanann. Ronnie said that Shanann had sent a picture of the sonogram to him and Cindy after they returned to Colorado, that she did not say anything to go along with the picture, just sent the picture itself, and of course they did not respond back. Ronnie speculates that Shanann was reaching out to them. You think? God damn it, you're a genius, Papa Ronnie. Ronnie said that when Chris was visiting in North Carolina, he told his father he wanted to separate from Shanann and that he did not love her anymore. Ronnie told them that Shanann always sat on her ass doing the Thrive stuff. That's called working, you dumb Mr. Watts, Papa Ronnie. Ronnie told them that Shanann always sat on her ass doing the Thrive stuff when Chris ran around taking complete care of the children. The book said, quote, he called her paranoid and extremely bipolar. In particular, he described Shanann as paranoid towards his wife, Cindy. Then Papa Ronnie explained to authorities about fuckface and Shanann. I didn't sense something was going on until now. They weren't all lovey-dovey like they used to be, and any time we would come visit them a couple of times a year and FaceTime with them and stuff, she's sitting on her ass on her phone doing her Lavelle Thrive stuff. Now, while I'm not a licensed psychotherapist, head doctor, analyst type person deal, Papa Ronnie seems to be preoccupied with Shanann's ass. Father Watts continued with the exaggerating. Chris is running around taking care of the kids, feeding the kids, doing this, doing that. He loves them kids. Believe me, he wouldn't do anything to hurt either one of those kids, Ronnie said, an attempt to paint Chris as the good one. She was telling us it was Chris's idea to have it 80-20 because he wanted a boy, and I mentioned it to him and he said it wasn't me, it was all her, everything is about her. She has this image, this persona that she wants, this image that she wants out there all the time. Everything is hunky-dory, everything is beautiful in the world and stuff, the things on Facebook is a mask she puts on. End quote. And of course, this is Ronnie regarding Chris and Shanann's marriage and the downhill slide it was taking. The chapter wraps up saying that Shanann felt a great deal of anxiety and distrust towards Cindy for not taking seriously the nut allergies that 𝐶𝐶 had and refused to allow Bella or 𝐶𝐶 to see Ronnie and Cindy for the rest of the trip. This chapter was dull and lackluster, kind of like my expressionless voice right now, as it would be to anyone that's closely followed the Watts family murders case. I guess I was hoping for more insight to everyone's behavior since Miss Lena is a family therapist. According to her website, Mr. Holly focuses on the following: couples who are having trouble navigating conflict in a healthy way, couples who want to work on communication skills, couples at a crossroads in their relationship, deciding whether to move forward or go their separate ways, couples who struggle with connection and intimacy and safety. Well, this sounded right up Chris and Shanann's alley. Remember when Fathead was trying in vain to explain to Graham Coder about connections and you look at somebody and you have that connection and he's going on and on about connections. Coder's like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. I want insight into Chris and Shanann's marriage. I want insight into the mudslinging relationship between Shanann and her in-laws, and particularly her mother-in-law. Some have said there were also issues between Shanann and her mother. I want dirt and tea. I have been patient. We've finished chapter 5 in pretty much nothing except for a few sentences and sentence fragments. Let me list them. Yes, I did this because I'm bored to tears. These are sentences that did come from Lena, the psychotherapist, and did not come from the Discovery or Wisconsin interview, which she has been following both for this book so far. And of course she will. I get that. But these points I like that she made, and I wish she would expand further upon them. 𝐶𝐶 had life-threatening nut allergies, and Cindy did not take these allergies seriously, causing Shanann to feel a great deal of anxiety and distrust towards her mother-in-law. Ronnie also explained that the rest of the visit to North Carolina was extremely contentious. Ronnie said in an attempt to paint Chris as the good one, talking about Shanann quote-unquote sitting on her ass doing Lavelle stuff while Chris ran around taking care of everything else. And Miss Lena said, ideally, this trip would give Cece and Bella the opportunity to get to know their uncles, aunts, and cousins better and spend more quality time with both sets of grandparents. The history between Shanann's and Chris's families were tense, to say the least, and the visits with Chris's family were sometimes a disaster. Oh, yeah. She described the relationship between NK and CW as a very serious and intense affair. Yes, it was. It was also hot and sticky and icky and pissy. No telling what else. Ugh. I want to know the whys and the hows and the where-tos that dingus dunderhead fuckface came into being an obnoxious horse's ass, low-life hellion, offensive fuckface, fucktard, prickhead, dick-wee bitch, spineless, piss-face, god-awful, dreadful, terrible, horrid, lousy, nasty, appalling, offensive, unpleasant, deplorable, beastly, disgusting, vile and repulsive, revolting, repugnant, objectionable, balderdash, dagnabbit, son of a monkey, poo on a stick, great Scott, bull spit, Williker, son of a gun, 𝐿𝐞𝐴𝐽𝐻, holy guacamole, drat, dagnabbit, wetful, intolerable, numbskull, goddamn yellow belly, chicken liver, lame brain, taste, tapeworm, excrement. Furthermore, I noticed from Discovery, not mentioned in the chapter, they were unsuccessful in getting Dieter back into his crate after the Wednesday morning search of the house. Go Dieter. He was probably like, no, y'all need to question me. I know stuff, and I'm not going back in there until you let me talk. But of course, no one could understand the charming Dotson. Apparently, they just threw their hands up in the air and left. And I hope he shit all over the house. And after they left, Dieter was like, that's right, y'all aren't the boss of me. Don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. I was kind of surprised that the author made note of the orderliness and the cleanliness of the house, but nothing on the chaos that was Shanann's office. Surely there's some hidden meaning there. The CBI agent even noted that the office and its adjoining closet were in sharp contrast to the rest of the house. The desk was cluttered, and there were items strewn on the floor of the office and in the closet. Miss Lena ignored that Shanann's office was a mess, when she was clearly a tidy and organized person otherwise. I mean, it could have also just have been she was gone all summer and threw everything in there and didn't have time to sort everything out before she went on her Arizona trip after only being home a few days. I'm grasping at straws here. I'm a little bit bored. Really, I am disappointed the author has skimmed over things. Frankly, I thought she would have addressed, such as the book that fucktard threw away, the relationship advice and self-help book. She only gave it a couple of sentences, just that it was an attempt by Shanann to save their marriage when Chris had no interest in reading it and only wanted distance between himself and Shanann, and to play doctor and circus with Sticky. And I'm surprised that she didn't talk about the fact that both CW and NK reaching out for their fathers when things got stressful for them. Are we just going to rehash Discovery again? That's already been done so many times in so many books. Don't get me wrong, she writes it very well, especially for those that are not too familiar with the story. It's informative and entertaining, but at the same time, she's only just skimming over some things that I feel were important and kind of stood out. While it's not really a copy and paste, it really is compressed and condensed. For fuck's sake, I want new and shiny shit to replace the mind-numbing, soul-destroying, colorless, lacking excitement, tedious, dull, monotonous, bland, lame, humdrum, unremarkable, wooden stuff that has been rehashed. I want new ideas and for someone to change it up and point out shit we didn't notice before or that has hidden meaning. Well, there's always hope for next chapter. Damn, that sounds familiar. Didn't I used to say that with the last book review? Come to think of it, we did get quite the surprise ending with that book, though. So maybe there is more to look forward to. That will be the end of this video. I will pick up with Chapter 6 in the next one. Much love and peace. Thank you for listening.
Oh, good job, Cece.